Secondary progressions is one of the best and most useful techniques in Western tropical astrology. The idea being to project the movement of planets each day onto each year. So 1 year after your birth corresponds to 1 day, 2 days to 2 years, 3 days to 3 years, etc. So, for example, if someone is 30, you're looking 30 days ahead, and you notice 30 days from the beginning, some planets will have moved a little bit, planets like Uranus, Pluto, because they move very little day to day. However, the moon will move a lot more since it covers 12 to 15 degrees per day, and then the ascendant will move a little bit each day forward from wherever it starts. So now, if we take the case of a country, in the case of the US, we are now 244 days, or 244 years from the foundation of the country. And so if we do that, we get this chart. And these positions, first and foremost, are then compared to the natal positions, to these positions. And that will, of course, give you really important information. But you can also look at this chart, the chart for the progression itself, and see what it's telling you. And often it will give you information that is not available in the original chart, or even if you do progressions or transits to this chart, you will not see it. But you will see it very clearly in this chart. And so you notice right away that with a 7-degree plus Virgo rising, Uranus is right on the zenith. And being on the zenith, it's square the horizon, squares the ascendant, descendant. And it thereby becomes a very prominent, but probably pretty irritating planet. Notice that in this chart, Uranus is the co-ruler of the health house. And I think a pretty good reflection of what is happening to the US during 2020. Because if you look a year ago, then what happens is it's not quite there yet. You know, it needed to get a little tighter, which it did. You see, this chart is for, all these charts I'm drawing for July 4th. So by winter time, it's actually pretty precise on the zenith. And then now we go to July 2020. This is where we are. And then you see further that in the original chart for the US, if you look at that, you notice that the ruler of the health house is Venus. Now, look at the progress chart and notice that Venus just entered Taurus as of sometime in the winter as well. And now it's in early Taurus. And notice that it is, in doing so, opposing the Saturn in the third house. And that Saturn in this chart is the primary ruler of the health house. And that, in fact, as you move forward from here, this moon, progress moon, will move toward making a T-square with these planets. Again, highlighting the sixth house, right? Remember, Venus is the original ruler of that house. It's why it's so important. And in fact, if we now go and we say, all right, what does this look like next year, July 2021, we see that the moon is still in that house, and we see Venus directly opposite Saturn. So all of this is telling us that this health situation we're going through is likely to persist well into 2021. And further indicators would be that, for example, we have a Virgo rising situation for quite some time, and Mercury, the ruler, is in that house as well. But of course, it was there already, so it needed some trigger points, such as this Venus entering Taurus, opposing Saturn in order to manifest. But to be honest, probably the most poetic expression is the Uranus being so prominent in this chart as an irritating influence. And remember, this Uranus in the American chart, if we go back and look at its condition, it is actually the last planet to have touched an angle prior to birth. This is known as the Gackelin effect. It's the planet that most imprints. And a planet like Uranus, perhaps even more than Sagittarius rising, defines the country as the land of the free. It's very difficult to get consensus in the US. There's almost a constant discord. Everyone wants to do their own thing, go their own way. And so when a planet like Uranus is too strong in the whatever the current scenario is, you can expect division, you can expect problems, and this is pretty much what we're going through, pardon me. But I think what is really interesting here is to notice that at this particular time, the Uranus happens to be strongly connected to the health sector.